Kaylee Goncalves' family is pissed off. Breaking news, people. This is Tea of Bed Crime Stories. You're not going to believe it. Moscow, Idaho suspect Bryan Kohberger, remember him? Well, he's accepted a plea deal, and he says he's guilty. He's also admitting to a burglary charge that was connected to the same crime. He got into the home. In exchange for his plea deal, the prosecutors have agreed to drop the DP so that he will not be in a room with people with weapons in hand aimed at him. He's going to instead spend the rest of his life behind bars in prison without the possibility of parole. Remember when he said he looked forward to proving his innocence? Well, obviously not. He's saying, well, I'm guilty. And for anybody who says, well, that doesn't mean he's guilty, I'm saying nobody in their right mind is going to say I'm guilty if they didn't do the crime. They're not going to opt to spend the rest of their life in prison. I don't believe it. I don't buy that. So he's going to be back in court on Wednesday to say that he did it. And of course, Kaylee Goncalves' family is infuriated. They wrote on Facebook, quote, "We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. This was very unexpected." The family was alerted to the plea deal in a letter which explained that state prosecutors were approached last week by Kohberger's defense team asking to be presented with an offer. Prosecutors then said they met with available family members and weighed the right path forward and made a formal offer to Kohberger. The prosecution said, quote, "This agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you and the other families through the uncertainty of decades of post-conviction appeals." So this news came just hours after a hearing in which apparently Kohberger's case descended into chaos. His defense apparently called the wrong witness as others expressed their bewilderment at being called at all. Here's what happened. 5 men connected to Bryan Kohberger's past in Pennsylvania appeared in Monroe County Court on Monday, that's in Pennsylvania, to determine whether they were going to be ordered to travel to Idaho for Kohberger's trial, which of course was supposed to begin in August. The group of Pennsylvanians The group of Pennsylvanians included the accused perpetrator's former boxing coach, a man who he went to high school with, and a guard who worked at the local jail where he was briefly held while awaiting extradition. Now, when the defense called a man named Ralph Vecchio III, a 65-year-old, who owns the business where the Kohbergers bought his white Hyundai Elantra, this man, Vecchio III, claimed he thought the attorneys may have subpoenaed the wrong guy. He noted that his father, with the same name, I guess it would have been Ralph Vecchio II, had run the business when the Kohbergers bought the car. Vecchio said he's never met or laid eyes on Bryan Kohberger. He is quoted as saying, "I feel the subpoena has no merit for me. I have never seen in my lifetime or talked to in my lifetime the accused. I've never had any personal contact with him ever." And Vecchio's like, "I have no idea why I'm being called as a witness. It just doesn't make any sense." So that's when the judge questioned if Ralph Vecchio, the one who was in the courtroom, was the one that the attorney, Abigail Parnell, who was speaking on behalf of Kohberger's legal team, well, she admitted she didn't know. She said, quote, "Your Honor, I cannot say for certain." Can you imagine? Now, of the other 4 men, 1 agreed to travel to Idaho to testify ahead of the hearing. 2 were ordered by the judge to appear, even though they voiced their opposition. And the 4th had yet to decide, apparently. So what a day. Personally, I think this is, how do I put this? I do think it's a good idea because he's saying he did it now. He's saying, I'm taking the plea deal. I'm guilty. I accept that. That means if he had somehow been found not guilty and he is somebody who's capable of being done, of doing what was done to those 4 kids, you don't want somebody like that wandering around in your neighborhood, do you? The other thing is the 2 survivors, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, now are probably feeling incredibly relieved. I'm sure they did not want to have to be in a courtroom anywhere near him. This would have been another trauma, especially for Dylan, since she laid eyes on him that night, or that morning, I should say. So for them, they are probably so relieved. It's hard to say what the other families are thinking. Maybe they're relieved as well. We know the Goncalveses were looking forward to being in the courtroom, for having a chance to really look Kohberger in the eye. And also they were looking forward to him being found guilty and then facing those people holding the weapons in the room, if you know what I mean. I'm sure for the Goncalves family, this does not feel like justice at all. I think for them, the only way that they could have come away from this feeling okay was if he was found guilty and then they could maybe even sit in the room while those people with the weapons did away with him. Oh boy, let me know what you think in the comments. I just hope we get to hear all the evidence. I would not want to be left out of the evidence because we know we haven't heard everything. We never really heard what his motive was. We're still guessing that he's an incel who just disliked women, especially blonde, thin women that he wanted to date who wouldn't look at him or give him the time of day. I'm sure his mother is relieved because you may recall she wrote a letter even before any of this happened, like talking about the DP and how she was against it. And it was almost like she could look into the future and know that her son was one day gonna face that. And she wanted to make sure that people saw the brutality of it, I guess. So she may be relieved, but I'm sure there are mixed emotions if they were thinking that there was a possibility that their son was innocent. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Love you guys. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. See ya later.